Directors for the Monroe Peninsula Water Management District, Monday, May 18th, 2026, 5 p.m. in the Water District chambers. Roll call, please.
Director Daniels. Present. Director Edwards.
Present.
Director Riley.
Here.
Director Paul.
Here.
Director Gawain. Vice Chair Lindor. Here. Chair Oglesby.
Here.
All members are present.
Okay, thank you. Are there any additions or what? Are there any additions or corrections to the closed session agenda?
There are none.
Thank you so much. I'll open up public comment on the closed session agenda as item.
I see no raised hands, Chair Oglesby.
Thank you so much. I'll close public comment on agendized items. And then we will move into closed session. Let the general counsel, I'm sorry about that.
Right.
But who wants to read this in the closed session?
I'm going to go ahead. It's in on two closed session items under Government Code Section 54956.9. It's two cases. The first one being the CPUC case number A.21-11-024. And the second is conference with legal counsel for pending litigation, and that's one case. That brings us into closed session.
And before we go, we need to release Meredith and Monica from the meeting.
Before we do that, I'll be back up public comment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Public comment on our closed session items.
It looks like we have no public comment at the moment.
I'll close public comment on our closed session items, and then we will move everybody into closed session. That should be.
I'll make an announcement. Monica, if you can please leave the meeting and return at 6 p.m. Otherwise, if
6 P.M. meeting. A roll call, please.
Director Daniels. Director Edwards.
Here.
Director Riley.
Here.
Director Paul. Here. Director Gawain. Here. Vice Chair Lindor.
Here.
Chair Oglesby. And is Director Daniels here?
Yes. Yeah, she's here.
To the chair, Director Daniels is currently absent.
I thought she stepped out for a minute too. She left the property? Okay, well then that's the right call. Okay, all right. So we have a quorum?
Yes, Chair, we do have one.
Thank you so much. I would ask Director Paul to lead us in the pledge of allegiance, if she would, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. But General Manager, General Counsel, are there any additions or deletions?
Yes, one change, exhibit 17A, and it was in your red folder. Unfortunately, a prior month's version from water supply planning found its way into my staff report.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to oral communications. To address the board on matters under their jurisdiction may do so for up to 3 minutes. This is the time to make your comments. It would be helpful if you would state your name for the benefit of the record. Public comment is open.
Chair Oglesby, I see no raised hands.
Okay, thank you. Public comment is closed. Let's go to the consent agenda, which is 1, consider adoption of minutes for regular board meetings, April 20th, 2026. 2, consider approval of funding for outreach events, Summer Splash Water Challenge. Giveaway. 3, consider approval of funding and continuation of the March Madness conservation promotion. Consider recommendations to authorize a contract with CoreLogic Information Solution Inc. to support demand management programs. 5, consider recommendations to authorize a contract with Corporation Service Company recording fees. 6, consider authorizations to enter into a contract with Termex Inc. for Simple Hollow Steelhead Facility Monitoring and Control Systems. 7, consider a contract for public outreach services with World Ads for fiscal year 2026-27. 8, consider renewal of contracts with JEO and Associates for legislative and administrative services. 9, consider renewal of contract with Ferguson Group for legislative and administrative services. 10, consider adoption of Treasurer's Report for March 2026. 11, receiving file receiving third quarter's financial activity report for fiscal year 2024-25, 25-26. 12, consider approval of the regular quarter fiscal year 2025-2026 investment report. 13, consider adoption of resolution number 2026-02 establishing Article 13 fiscal year 2026-27 appropriation limit. That concludes the reading of the consent agenda. Is there any item anybody would like to pull out the consent agenda?
Number 7, please.
Anyone from the public would like to pull anything off the consent agenda?
I see no raised hands.
Thank you so much. Bring it back to the board. To approve the consent agenda does not include item 7.
So we reviewed this at the admin meeting, all of these items.
Mhm.
I recommend approval.
Second
Move.
motion.
It's been probably moved in second. On public comment, consent items.
I see none. Thank you.
close the comment on consent items back. Motion to accept the consent agenda. Favors recommend sign a vote, which is aye. Ayes have the same. Abstentions. Ayes have it. Motion carried unanimously. Consent item number 7, consider contract for public service services. Fiscal year 2026, 2027. Director, questions?
Yeah, just a question and then I'll close it off. Did we put an increase in this for him?
Yes,
How much was that increase, please?
3%,
3%? Okay,
and there was no increase last year.
all right. And my comment on this, all those contracts needs to go to the committees and have them. I'm serious about that, because I've been talking about that. If you want to give these increases out, let the committees hear it, see it. I looked at the administrative committee meeting. I was there, I listened to it, and I know he probably did, but let the public know. So it's set there. And I like the work he does. He does good work. That 3% could have been 5% if I had a say in it. But come on. Let's start, J and A, all of them. Bring them to the committees and let them discuss it. And then say, hey, okay, it goes to the administrative committee and everybody give their blessing. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, of course.
And then was there any change in scope of his expected activity?
No,
I just got spoiled because, with the red, we get.
Would you, turn the mic for the
With
recording?
the regulations, we get the red line,
yeah, true.
and, so here, what's my on?
No, it's not on.
Oh, green.
Okay. Is it-
What was it for? I'll figure it out, no.
No, go ahead, sir.
There we go. No, I was just saying that we got a regulation, we get the red line version, so we see exactly how it's changed. So that's why we had those questions. Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's take it out to public comment. Public comment is open.
I see no raised hands. Chair Wilkes-Bee.
Thank you. Seeing no one here, public comment is closed. Bringing it back to the board. What is the will of the board?
I move approval.
Second the motion.
They probably moved to second. On the question, just so I agree with you, for the part of that is the committee saying, bring it to the committee.
Yes.
And if it's not brought, then you guys need to say something when it comes up here for the rest of us.
It's in there fast.
So,
I just like they
okay, let us know.
in it from.
All right, I think Jim Manager heard you guys. Members in favor of the red sign voting, which is aye. And these have the same right. Abstentions. Hearing none, ayes have it, motion carried unanimously. Let's go to 14 report. Mr. General Manager.
Yes, and I'll try to sweep through here relatively quickly because item 17 for action has a lot of the same similar information at least. But so go ahead and pull it up. Slide number 1, which is production for customer service year to date. We were about 100 acre feet over last year. And that's primarily due to our dry March and increased irrigation demand.
Mhm.
And here we go. Screen sharing, so straight to the slide number 3. The second actual. Yeah, pass it. Go to the next one, please. This is just a summary of the first 7 months of water supply utilization, the blue bar being availability of supply for the current year, the orange bar being actual production. We've seen an uptick. We were at 27% on the Carmel River last month and now at 38%. I do not believe in the next 2 months, May and June, that we're going to see usage at or even near the water right. Same thing with the Seaside Basin. And that's because we're bringing the expansion of Pure Water Monterey online. And so there is this little bit of surplus of choices, but we'll continue to monitor it. Table 13, which is interruptible. Whatever you get is what you use, so it's always going to be 100%. And of course, storage, we've added to storage, but not tapped storage at all this year. The storage equation is shown in this pie chart. Again, we've added 400 acre feet to the pure water Monterey reserves and 916 acre feet to ASR during the spring. Rainfall, I just want to show you the rainfall chart because the difference between what I showed you at March with almost no rainfall in March and then April being a seasonably unexpected excessive rain. The 23.8 inches is 116% of long-term average. You can see that in the next rainfall chart that you've seen before, the red line being cumulative, the blue being daily totals. So April really did good for us. And I can tell you, we also serve the Del Monte Forest with reclaimed water. And the reservoir was full in April for the first time in about 9 years. So, yep. And then finally, ASR, I wanted you to see that even with the lack of rain in March, when we started having to eye the in-stream flow requirements very closely, the April rains did give us a few extra days and allowed us to get that additional amount that brought us to the 916 acre feet for this year. Total storage in ASR just over 5,000. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions?
Chair,
Yes.
I just wanted to make an introduction to our new water demand division manager. She's in the audience, it's Molly Wooden. And she started with the board, the district on May the 4th.
Star Wars did.
May the 4th be with her.
Yeah, oh, wow.
And so she, you may have read in the paper, is replacing the long-term water demand manager, Stephanie Locke.
Oh, okay. Thank you. We have any, let's welcome the problem. Why don't you come on and say hello so we can, we'll hear you on the phone or something. I don't know who the thing, yeah.
Very nice to meet all of you. I don't know if this is on. Came from water chemistry background and then was at Pebble Beach for the past couple of years running their conservation and utilities management as well as their compliance and their legal department. So very excited to be here and meet you all and talk about more water issues.
All right, well, thank you so much, and thank you for signing up and being part of the team. Does anybody else want to say anything positive? So, thank you so much. Let's open up the public comment on the general manager's comments.
Chair Oglesby, I see no raised hands.
Thank you. Let's go to item number 15, report from district council.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So 2 items I'd like to report. The first, we did meet in closed session this evening at 5 p.m. There was 2 items on that agenda. The first item was involving the Phase 2 supply and demand proceedings from the CPUC. This was case A.21-11-024. There was direction provided to council, and that will start being incorporated in our litigation report going forward. The second item, this was conference with legal counsel for pending and threatened litigation. 1 case that anticipated litigation was dismissed. There's going to be no action and no reportable, nothing to report on that. Secondly, I'd like to turn to the litigation report. This is on page 71 of your packet. Not a whole lot of updates on the first couple cases, but I would like to jump to matters before the PUC. This is the general rate case, the most recent one. This is case number A.25-07003. The district has participated as full party status in these proceedings. There was evidentiary hearings starting on April 20th through the 24th. Right before those hearings started, though, we did receive word that Cal-Am and Cal Advocates had reached a settlement in kind. Unfortunately, no information in advance of those hearings were provided as to the nature and scope of those proposed settlement terms. So the district accordingly did conduct its cross-examinations to reserve its rights in front of the PUC. A further settlement conference in that case is now going to be held on May 27th for all the parties. The purpose of that conference is to discuss pending settlement proposals between Cal Am Water and the Cal Advocates prior to its planned filing date of June 8th. Contested issues will be identified and submitted on that matter. I'd also like to turn to the number 5 in your packet. This is the Water District versus the State Water Resources Control Board. Specifically, this is the Sierra Club's fee motion lawsuit that was in favor of the district, but we've now received word that the Sierra Club is filing an appeal on that matter. They filed their notice of appeal with the 6th District Court, and the case number has been assigned as number H0534345. Appellant's opening brief and appendix is required to be served on the district within 70 days from the date of that filing. We have not been served with that yet. And Delane Laredo will continue its representation of the district in that matter, and we'll provide you updates as it comes along. And that concludes my report out.
Questions from the board, Director Rowley?
I want to go back to the very first item, the district versus Cal-Am. Judge Rivermont broke it into 2 different hearings. What is the legal question that's in the first hearing?
That would be the that latent power activation. Do we have the power to sell water retail, and how will that class of service be defined? So in other words, not to get too far afield, previous court rulings only ruled between the difference of wholesale and retail in the electrical industry. There's quite a bit of support for the sale of water in a one water world is not distinguishable between wholesale and retail, but nevertheless, in our sales of water, we have sold both retail non-potable and retail potable. So California American is attempting to say, well, there's a further difference if it's distributed through a public water system distribution system network. It should be considered a new and different service, which would be a new application of the law. So our contention is we have sold water, both retail and wholesale in the past, both non-potable and potable in the past. So this will just determine whether under LAFCO rules, it should be thought of as a new or different service.
Well, as I recall, Cal-Am argument was that the old rules applied. And I thought the current argument is that some of those rules have changed and you're trying to apply a new rule and Cal-Am is trying to stick to an old interpretation. Am I just kind of off base on that, or kind of related but not?
Well,
I'm just curious, is there a new regulation that gets applied to in this new hearing?
not necessarily. So in other words, the defendant in this case could say, well, we think you need to interpret current law differently. And we are contending that we meet the 4 corners of all prior law and have at it. But there's not been a regulatory change that would say, oh, this is now, that was then.
Oh, it's not that clean. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, I was thinking it was, but okay, thank you.
Anything you want to add?
Just that, and maybe completing the Apple Valley standard of review, which is to the second phase of the hearing, which is going to be later on. So,
Okay, thank you.
Let's open up to public comment on General Counsel's comments. Thank you. We'll go to item number 16, Director's Reports. Anybody? Director Adler.
I attended a special district meeting in April. And just 2 things I wanted to point out. The Special District Association has a new member. It's a combination of the 2 counties together. San Benito and Merced have joined together. as a single new member of the Special District Association. So anyway, I thought that was kind of strange, but also good news. And the other thing is that Jimmy Panetta has apparently introduced, or maybe he's co-author, but HR 2766, which is to assure that federal regulatory agencies recognize special district services throughout the country. That's a big deal in the West. It's a big deal in California. Anyway, and that was good news to hear. I don't know the standing of that HR rule, but anyway, it was good to hear. The one thing I just wanted to suggest, and maybe it's there and I've just kind of forgotten about it, the legislative committee gets a review about every 3 or so 4 months, I forget. But I just want to make sure that the CSDA, that organization, is identified in the state report about what bills they support compared to what the consultants are saying are good and bad bills. I just want to make sure it's connected so that we have that connection. The Special District Association, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. Thank you. That's it.
Yep. Anyone else have any reports out? Okay. Let's go on to item number 17, which is receive and confirm water supply forecast for the period of May 1st, 2026 through September 30th, 2027, and consider adopting draft resolution number 2026-03 to amend water supply target table XV-5. Mr. General Manager.
Yes, thank you. My screen just went completely blank, so I'm going to wing it from Michael's paper copy. There is no PowerPoint, but the exhibits kind of speak for themselves with the new improved 17A from your pink packet. This item did go through the Water Supply Planning Committee, and I want to call your attention to a major difference or a bit of a sea change in how we approach this. For years and years and years, in October, we would set the annual water supply budget for the year. And then quarterly, at your meetings, you approve kind of an update on a quarterly basis. The previous methodology would basically take several actual years of production data and look at how they fell in a distribution by month. And then we would say, okay, based on that distribution, here's what it would look like going forward. Then every May, we would come to you as we're doing tonight, and we would say, how are we doing in the current water year, 7 months into it, and look for the remaining 5 months, which are heading into the summer and the following year, and say, is there a risk of drought or shortage that we may need to take action, be it voluntary conservation, mandatory conservation, conservation rates, or in the end, rationing. And so this is the May report to you. And the methodology has changed because we used to rely solely on the Monterey Peninsula Water Resource System. How much water is in the Seaside Basin? How much water is in the Carmel River alluvial aquifer? And what's the demand on those two sources going to be by pumpers? And those would be Cal-Am pumpers and non-Cal-Am pumpers in both regards. Well, it's not quite that simple anymore. We have Sand City Desal, we have a Malpaso water right, and then we have the large scale Pure Water Monterey as a source of supply. It's neither groundwater nor is it river water. It's manufactured water, recycled water. So the entire kind of evaluation is now shifted to compare available supplies of all types to future demand, next 5 months, next water year. And that's what we've done. So Exhibit 17A is just a look at remaining supply for the current water year. And quite simply, if you remember the first chart of my report earlier, which was production, it's by all those different sources of supply, and it tells you how much water has been produced for delivery to customers year to date. So if you look at the very first number in the upper left-hand corner for the Carmel River, you would take 3,000 376 available acre feet in the legal water right and subtract out that production through the first 7 months, and that's your remaining available for the rest of the year. Same thing for every other water supply resource, how much remains. And then for next year, you can see for the full year, it's the full legal water right on the Carmel, the full native water right on the Seaside Basin. The transitional year between the base project and the expansion project of Pure Water Monterey, eventually we'll see annually a number of 5750. Here it's 5286, which is an estimate based on where we think we're going to land for the year in deliveries and so forth. And so the supplies next year, what you see in the zeros is, well, we're not predicting new storage for either ASR, Pure Water Monterey, or even Cal-Am's slight mismatch between what's been injected for them in the ground and what they've taken out of the ground. Those can change over time, but we're not projecting them as available supplies. So you look at remaining 5 months, all of next year, that's your total supply available. So then you shift to the next exhibit, which is Exhibit B, and we can compare that availability on the bottom or the second line to demand. And our demand numbers in this case refer solely to Cal-Am demand at this point. So we don't look at non-Cal-Am pumpers. We're saying, do our supplies meet the customer's needs as projected? And demand in this case for the current year is actually the 5-year average of the last 5 years. So it's not a known specific, it's what's it been looking like. So that's 9,247 acre feet. And next year's demand is that current year, 5-year average plus growth rate at the AMBAG growth rates as shown in both the Urban Water Management Plan, which you're going to hear about in a couple of items, or our adopted every 4 years supply and demand forecast. So we use demand as we project in these other reports against supplies as I just laid out for you. And what that shows us is that we've got more than enough water. We're in a surplus situation due in no small part to the storage that's built up over time, but also the addition of the expansion and right now even having in-year supplies looking a little bit surplus to demand. So we're not going to rally the troops to conserve more this summer or do anything unusual. It's just kind of a normal full speed ahead. I've included the third exhibit just to show you what that table looked like in prior years. And then of course the resolution, and the resolution is in effect just adopting the new table 15-5.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Oh,
Director Edwards, then Director Raleigh.
Thank you, General Manager, Exhibit 17A. I see the Carmel River. And maybe I did this wrong, but they're gonna have 1,270 acres left. Do we have any control over this? What I'm trying to get to is, I know Cal-Am is probably using the most expensive water out there, and that's the Monterey One water.
Right.
Do we have any say so? You got 1,270 acre feet left of the river, and can they use that river year round, or does that cut out? Help me out.
Yep.
Thank you.
And these are great questions. The fisheries people would prefer that the river not be tapped heavily in July, August, if you will, June, July, August. That's neither here nor there. It's far more difficult to move water from the Carmel Valley all the way over to Seaside than it used to be. The Monterey pipeline has been working in one direction since Pure Water Monterey came online. And so there's just functional hydraulic issues on where you can move water to. But to your point, the more expensive water, if you will, they entered a contract and they have to purchase it. And so they want to make sure the ratepayer is compensating them for that water. They don't want to build it up in the ground either. So there's a revenue recognition issue. And as presently configured, we can't make water move physically through the system. But we also, even though on the electric side at the PUC, there is a doctrine or a theory that I don't get it wrong, least cost something, but that you try to use your cheapest sources first. It's not specifically stated on the water side, but it's good business practice.
Okay, but just one more. That pipeline supposed to be able to go both ways, right? When we approved it to get it built, and we found out at the end, it's only gonna go one way. But we satisfy everybody, say, go ahead and build it by, make sure it goes both ways. So that's another one we got stuck on. All right, thank you.
I differ a little bit. I don't think we're stuck on it. It's good to have,
Oh, we're back.
multiple ways of delivering water around the peninsula. I had a question though about how to make La Nina. When reading about it, it means, maybe a tough winter, less water, dry winter, all that kind of stuff. Yet we're looking pretty good in terms of the supply storage we have. My point is, could Wellman present some kind of picture of storage and El Nina and predictions and whatever it is, and just kind of get some kind of message out there that we're doing pretty well? I want to be pleased.
Well, I think you'll see this week,
No.
299 million gallons went into the river, so 300 billion gallons, 3 billion. So that's one effort to let people know. I should tell you that, so it's El Nino versus La Nina. It looks like we're going to have El Nino, which means through the summer, we're going to have a lot of these really dominant high pressure zones that don't move. And so you're seeing rising seawater temperatures, and it's very likely to be a dry, hot summer in lots of parts of the state. But most of the predictions are pretty heavy winter rains as a result. So I think we just kind of wait to see what happens beginning November, December. But if it does play out that way, it'll probably be a wet year next year.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Okay.
Let's stay out the public comment. Public comment is open. On 17.
Chair Oglesby, I see no raised hands.
Okay, thank you. Comes close back to the board.
Receive and confirm the water supply forecast for the period May 2026 to September 30, 2027.
And resolution.
Adopt the resolution. Yeah, second that.
Okay, we'll probably move to second. Any questions? Okay, all those in favor is with the sign of voting, which is aye.
Aye.
And those have the same right? Abstentions? And as ayes have a motion carried unanimously. Adoption of the Water Management Districts 2025 urban water storage contingency plan by resolution number 2026-04.
Be good.
Hi, I'm here for the public hearing to adopt the 2025
urban water management plan, and water shortage contingency plan. So what are these plans? Well, the urban water management plan and the associated water shortage contingency plan are prepared by urban water suppliers. As a means of evaluating adequate water supplies, both in the short term and long term, to make sure that we have a long-term plan for the waters. State requirements is found in California Water Code, the citation provided in the presentation. I'm sure this is not operated at. I can do that. And the key requirements are the urban. Oh, thank you. It's urban water suppliers who are supplying more than 3,000 or more service connections or 3,000 or more acre feet per year. Best laid plans. The urban water management plan is due on July 1st on a 5-year cycle. So you'll see us again in 2031. DWR receives the plans, they read them and make sure that the urban water management plans are compliant with state code. I have a note here that the urban water management plan code requires that data be reported on a fiscal or calendar year basis. So you may see slight differences between the plan numbers and those in the general manager's report, because we report on what's called a water year basis from October 1st through September 30th of the water year. The applicability to MPWMD is we wholesale pure water Monterey water. And I specifically use the phrase wholesale because the urban water management plan reporting requirements for wholesalers and retailers is substantially different. In our other roles, we also have conservation and rationing regulatory authority. We own, operate, report, and I left off, we are Regional Water Quality Control Board permittee for the ASR injection. So we report on ASR as a water supply that we wholesale because it's transferred to the retailer. We also retail Pebble Beach and Carmel Area Wastewater District Reclamation Project water. While I use the phrase retail here because it's less than 3,000 acre feet a year and to fewer than 3,000 customers, we don't have to report as a retail urban water supplier. What are the components of an urban water management plan? Well, it makes sense that it's in large part comparing supply and demand, where we are currently, what it looks like in a normal year, a single dry year, and a 5-year consecutive drought over a minimum of a 20-year planning horizon. Okay. There's also an annual water shortage assessment and a drought risk assessment that says, hey, what if drought happens today? Are we going to be okay in terms of water supply and demand through the next planning cycle in 2030? Last, we provide demand measure and management measures and a water shortage contingency plan, which is on this next slide. The water shortage contingency plan is a standalone plan. The board can't say we adopt the urban water management plan, and that includes the water shortage. We're adopting that separately in a sense. The water shortage contingency plan is very similar to the district's Rule 160 and Regulation 15. Oh, I have that out of order. I apologize. It is how it works is we have 4 conservation and rationing stages. DWR requires 6. So the code provides for that and allows us to map our 4 stages to their 6. What that does is it also maps our conservation and rationing actions to the required 6 stages for DWR. what you wind up with is a plan that says, given this amount of shortage, these are the actions you're going to take. It's required with the urban water management plan, but can be updated more often if the board chooses to do that. It's also due July 1st. Overall, supply and demand is comprised of storage supply, the annual delivery supply, and use, which is you'll see used interchangeably with demand. For Pure Water Monterey, we should be at 2,875 acre feet very, very soon. The annual delivery for that program after the performance start date begins is 5,750 acre feet a year. We have just over 5,300 acre feet in storage, with 1,210 the average delivery for ASR that the CPUC approved in the supply and demand proceeding. The use we have estimated at 0, and I'm going to talk about that in a couple slides. For the reclamation project, it's relatively easy. The buyers will use whatever COD can supply. So it's almost in and out with no storage. Slide, please. What the urban water management plan and water shortage contingency plan analysis showed is that we have sufficient Pure Water Monterey and ASR water to meet anticipated demand for those water supplies in a normal year, a single dry year beginning at the 5-year mark over the planning horizon, a continuous 5-year dry period, again beginning at each 5-year mark over the planning horizon. In addition, if a drought were to begin tomorrow, we have enough water to carry us through until the next urban water management plan cycle. Outreach, we have done a lot of it. We began with our notice of preparation that was sent out on February 10th. On March 3rd, we presented to the Water Supply Planning Committee the status and conditions of the urban water management plan. We did the same at the April 3rd Water Demand Committee. On April 13th, notice of plan availability went out and the plan was posted to our website. On April 20, we held a workshop at the last Board of Directors meeting. We published notices in newspaper on April 30 and May 7, with the last day for written comment being May 12, and we're here tonight for the public hearing. The next steps are within 30 days of adoption of the plans, we submit them to DWR, the California State Library, and cities and counties who receive water that we wholesale. DWR then reviews those plans for completeness and works with us if there are any gaps. We did receive comments. We received one letter on May 12th from Paul Hastings on behalf of Land. And with one exception, the comments appear to be immaterial. We provided a handout tonight that will show the proposed changes. The first is going to be to delete a quantitative analysis that included the retailer demand and some other retailer supplies. We were using a quantitative analysis to determine the ASR use. So we understand there's sensitivity to that. So we've deleted those sections and replaced it with a qualitative analysis that says what was stated elsewhere in the plan. The ASR recovery has not been required since 2020. Water years 21 and 22 were both hydrologically dry years. So we've got a good dry year period in there. In 2025, with the completion of the final expansion of Pure Water Monterey, 2,250 additional acre feet of water will be added to the system. And we know CalAm is planning on constructing their own water supply project, for which we refer people to their urban water management plan. So for these reasons, MPWMD assumes there will be no required demand for stored ASR water over the projected horizon. Recommendation is to hold a public hearing for the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and Water Shortage Contingency Plan, to adopt a resolution approving the amended 2025 urban water management plan that would include the handout from tonight. And the 2025 water shortage contingency plan. I imagine there are questions.
And thank you so much for the excellent report. Questions from the board? Director Ryan.
The correspondence file had this Paul Hastings letter. You have a number of changes that were made in the report. What originated, what changed, what caused the changes in the report? Was it Hastings' letter? I want to know the connection between those.
Okay, so in Hastings' letter, he brought up a section of code 10620C, which states that planning elements that would apply to a retailer cannot be discussed by the wholesaler without receiving consent from the retailer. Now, there is no definition of a planning element. We checked through the code. Other urban water management code talks about planned water supplies, but it doesn't use the phrase planning element that we could find. Every urban water management plan cycle, DWR publishes a guidebook. This guidebook is, the hundreds of pages of the detail you need in order to complete one of these plans. In that guidebook, the phrase planning element is used in one location. Well, it's 3 times in one section for the water shortage contingency plan, the actions we're going to take if we do have a near-term shortage. Additionally, that section of code in the guidelines is only provided where the water shortage contingency plan is discussed. Regardless, staff, in consultation with our consultant Kennedy Jenks and our legal counsel, understand that in us projecting the retailer demand, you could consider that planned demand, which could be considered a planning element. And with the absence of a definition, we decided we could move from a quantitative analysis to a qualitative analysis, and it puts us at the same place.
Well, I remember seeing the report. It was on our agenda a month ago. And I thought it was very thorough and very interesting reading and just general summary of a lot of issues I thought that the district faces. And I thought that was very good. And I read the Paul Hastings letter and I thought, well, typical nitpicking, but that's my attitude. But then I saw your changes and I didn't know what generated the changes. And so did you answer my question? Because I'm not sure.
Yeah, so most,
It's an engineer's answer. Didn't want.
so they broke the letter into various particular topics or sessions. We found one of those to be substantive, given the definitional uncertainty of planning element, which drove pretty much the changes that you saw in your folder. Everything else we deemed to be nitpicky.
Well, and I thought, nitpicky or not, I mean, I thought the report was very thorough and I liked seeing all the issues that were addressed in it. And so the fact that Paul Hastings thinks we covered too much ground, I think more standard in public documents is you don't cover enough ground. So I thought this was better on the error on the side of more rather than less. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Director Daniels.
Yeah, if you could just help me understand what the issue is, though, it was that, and I think you addressed it in your edits, was there an issue with us including ASR in the same way that CalAm was including it, and it can't be in both places?
We felt that is not an issue, that's immaterial. We play a very large role in getting ASR into the ground. We transfer the water to CalAm and feel that is a wholesale approach. There were a number of things brought up, like it has to be over 3,000 acre feet. That's untrue. You're supposed to report on all of the supplies that go through your hands. And we don't feel there's basis.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
And the immaterial ones, that would be like the table 13, 1 and others.
Table 13, not discussing pure water Monterey variability. We did that. There were some places where they stated some things that were, just look here and just look there. And if you read all of the code, it actually says this, not just the one sentence provided.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's important to note that the Paula Hastings law firm letter reiterated some statements that were already debunked by the Public Utilities Commission Phase 2 decision. So in some regards, there was selective picking of data and concepts.
And I think it comes down to, this is a stronger document. They'll take in some stuff, they need to be there, but I believe it's a stronger document because.
It's a superior document that reflects a lot of hard work
That's right.
by your staff.
Yeah, right. You two is on that, striking on some of the stuff did not make it weaker. It means it's a stronger document. Striking on some stuff you put in there, that was okay because you put it in. But you said you took out what you thought you needed to take out. And so for me, that makes it a stronger document. And I think people will have a hard time picking at it anymore. That's really what I'm getting to. So thank you so much. Yeah.
I completely agree, and I just want to thank you for the professionalism of the report, and then considering the comments we received and exercising your independent judgment. So I appreciate all of that.
Let's take it out to public comments open.
Oh, Jesus.
I think it's back. I think it's back.
Everybody says we don't have this thing right.
First thing I'm the witnesses guy now. Is he meeting me? Or before you finally meet him. Welcome to the club.
That's right.
Short and bald, knee glasses. What's next? My name is Josh Stratton. I'm the external affairs manager for for California American Water here in Monterey. Thank you. Thank you, board members. We're here today to urge you to vote no on the proposed urban water management plan. The draft plan raises serious concerns because your draft urban water plan exceeds its authority and overestimates regional water supplies. But our community is already vulnerable water supply at risk of further instability. The district's plan mischaracterizes water supplies in Caliam's Monterey service area as its own resources without the consent of Caliam as a regional water supplier going beyond what the water code allows. As only a wholesale water supplier for the Pure Water Monterey project, the district is required to focus on its ability to provide firm supplies from that project. The district is not permitted to characterize Caliam other supplies as its owner of the water cord, and yet the district included Caliam supplies in its plan without Caliam's agreement, which is clear overstepping of boundaries. But I see that there are recommended changes tonight, and I appreciate the changes and the recommended changes, and glad to see that we're working collaboratively on that. Clear lines of responsibility and ownership are essential to accurately assess water availability and future risks. Processes already exist to responsibly manage Monterey's vulnerable water supply, with Caliam conducting thorough long-term planning. The district's draft plan ignores these processes and does not account for Caliam's estimates in the full range of supplies. An urban water management plan should gather, characterize, and analyze water supply information, not rehash disputes over Caliam supply and demand estimates from prior plans or CPUC proceedings, which have already been settled. The district cannot use this process for that purpose. Without supporting calculations or evidence, the draft plan claims the water supplies will exceed Monterey's demand for at least the next decade, a dangerous assumption given the potential for future drought conditions. When the district steps outside of its role and expertise, the risk mismanagement of the peninsula's already vulnerable water supply confuses responsibilities and projections. The district should revise its plan, as I see it be recommending doing. Thank you. Should revise its plan and stay with its proper scope under the water code. Until now, the district has never prepared an urban water management plan addressing ASR because the water code does not give the district that authority. The board should not accept such an irresponsible approach, and appreciate it to decline the plan as originally recommended in the revised version. I appreciate the collaborative effort in accepting the revised one. Thank you.
Chair Oglesby, I have Susan Schiavone, just 1 minute. Susan, when you're ready. Susan, can you hear us? Susan, I see no other raised hands. Chair Oglesby.
Thank you so much. Public comment is closed. Bringing it back to the dais, what is the will of the board?
Can I ask one more question?
Of course. Of course.
So, it sounds like the Pure Water Monterey wholesale is what triggered the need to do the urban water management plan. So was this the first time we've ever done one?
It is, and
Okay.
that's exactly right. ASR doesn't supply 3,000 acre feet annually.
So, but you don't see any issues with, I mean, I really appreciate the report. So the full picture of our water, there's no issue with providing the full picture. We don't need to address any further concerns, it sounds like, and I understand it. I just want to make sure that.
Not in our opinion, and I can't remember if I said in the presentation, we went through and we spot checked several other wholesaler plans. And there are at least 5 San Benito counties, Sonoma, Port Hueneme, San Antonio, there's another one. They also include multiple water supplies that are in many cases below 3,000 acre feet a year. So there's just no basis if you didn't. And there are places in the DWR guidebook that interestingly enough instructs retailers that if they are providing wholesale water at less than 3,000 acre feet, they need to report that and they can report it in the retailer tables. So DWR wants more information, not less, and it's totally compatible to have ASR reported in the retailer tables and the wholesaler tables.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, if you will, so Meredith from Kennedy Jenks, who you've seen her little head come in and out. They do consult with the Department of Water Resources at the state on the guidebook every year, and they've got very good knowledge and it's been a great sounding board for Maureen in this process. On the ASR issue, it is an interesting one because its provenance is quite unique in that it's a shared water right, but we are the permitted injector. And so as that water goes in, we're the ones who put it into the ground. We share a name on the water right, and it's not really made a potable water for distribution until it's transferred from us to Cal-Am for treatment and distribution. So it really is a transfer a la a wholesale situation. So that's one reason that was included. And then the reclamation project, the state is very interested in amounts of recycled water because that's not a manufactured water. It's never found its way into their urban water management plan. So it has just been lost as a data point to the state in a variety of different filings. It's call it roughly 1,000 acre feet per year of recycled water use. And so we felt it's very important to at least have all those elements together.
Anyone else? What is the will of the board?
I move approval and quickly on second if I get one.
Okay.
So I'm probably with the second question, Director Lewis.
I like to tell staff, good job. Our consultant, really good job. And I like you, the way y'all thought about it and put some of those suggestions that Cal-Am brought up. I mean, we keep an open mind and we're not shut it down, if I think back years ago, I probably would say, you don't need all of that. But since we have a consultant and the staff have done a great job of listening and figuring things out, I think this is a good report. Now, the next one in the next 5 years or whatever it needs, you know, I'm glad we opened it up to the public and they had their say. So thank you, consultant and staff, good job, and public, for not timing in on it. Thank you.
And through the chair, just point of clarification on the motion. It's your motion is to adopt the urban water management plan as amended by staff.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And I'll take a minute on the question. And this is a good point. But that's what I would say. This is a stronger document. She seemed not to have any issues with what was stricken out. That's always a good thing. And then I asked myself, what if we don't have this report? What if we don't have this plan? Down the road, you'll be tripped up because they're going to say you can't do water because you don't have this plan. All right, so of course, there's going to be people that may not want us to do. That may not want us to have a plan down the road, but to put ourselves in a position, and these numbers are being recorded, so we rightfully have a plan, and so we're taking the next step to show our credibility. That's the way I look at this right here. Okay, all right, all those in favor, is sign voting, which is aye. Let's have the same right. Ayes have it. Abstentions. Ayes have it. Motion carried. Now let's go to item 19, update on citizens with panel. Assistant General Manager.
Thank you. Just quick updates. I know that we sent some emails to some of the board members that hadn't submitted some of their candidates yet, and they were very gracious in getting those back to us. So through this week, we had 5 board members provide candidates, and then we had 4 stakeholders submit statements of interest. And so we'll be reaching out to those individuals later this week to let them know that kind of the plan moving forward and to start coordinating some dates. Just for, you know, some information for you guys of what we're looking to do is try to start in early August with potential introduction to the district and our various departments, you know, kind of a high level overview, as well as emphasize some early history of the district about why we were formed, things of that nature. Then in early November, hopefully as the fish rescue program is in full effect, we'll do a deeper dive into the Administrative Services Department and the Shields Department, as well as the Environmental Resource Division. And then we could do a field trip out to the Sleepy Hollow facilities. Then in early February, we will do a more intense look into water demand and water resources division, potentially make some ASR injections at that time. So we will do a field trip to ASR. And then we'll wrap it up in late April with some of the general managers' priorities, as well as some of the higher level items such as Measure J, keep your fingers crossed on non-functional turf, and then kind of an overview of the whole Pure Water project and resulting in a field trip to the Pure Water Monterey facilities. So it's kind of it's broad, but I think we hit the high points and just kind of give a bigger breadth of what the district is doing and how we're working with our community to provide water resources. So just want to provide that update, Chair.
Oh, any questions? Yeah, I know you said so, but I'm question about the times and dates. Okay, if that's possible.
You bet.
Yeah, of course.
What are the stakeholder organizations?
You've heard from the fund?
Yeah, so we have the Coalition of Peninsula Businesses. We have the Carmel River Watershed Conservancy, Monterey Peninsula Chamber of Commerce, and Public Water Now.
And if there are still a couple other organizations out there that might be interested.
Yeah, we were planning for 5 stakeholder submissions, so you know, we haven't set a time yet, so if they're going to try to get it in quickly, please.
Reach out to Landwatch and to, I think, Carmel Valley Association, didn't? Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. Let's go on to items 20 to 27. Came out of the packet, routine stuff, Any questions or comments on those items? General manager, staff, directors, or council? Everybody's comfortable? Okay, all right. If that's it, then the next item is adjournment. When is, all right, when is the next meeting?
June 15th.
May